Shalom, once again, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000. Lord willing, this be straight to the point, edifying, and I will entitle this, Pessimism is Growing in America as the drums of war increase. Pessimism in America is growing as the drums of war increase. Fair use. This is for educational purposes only. I'm not making any money off of this. And I'll begin the video.
Does the American dream still exist? Or maybe more pointedly, is it still achievable? As the Wall Street Journal puts it, America is becoming a nation of economic pessimists. Harry Enton, crunch the numbers on this one. I would ask you for some uplifting news, but it sounds like there's none to be found.
No, I would say, America, we have a problem. And it's not just the Wall Street Journal poll that came out. I was looking at an ABC News poll that came out last year as well. If you work hard, you'll get ahead. That is the American dream. Never not true now. In 2010 to 2011, 15 years ago, it was 51% who said it wasn't true. Now look at this number. Woo, through the roof, 70%. Still true. Look at this, still true percentage. Falling through the floor. It was 47% 15 years ago. Now it is just 29%. So we basically had a 50-50 nation on whether the American dream was still true 15 years ago. But now it's over 2/3 of Americans who say it's never or no longer true.
How does this break down? Like, what group is seeing the most pessimism or the most loss in faith of the American dream?
Okay, so why has this percentage dropped from 47 to 29%? It's being driven by younger Americans. Look at this. The American dream still holds true. In 2010, age 18 to 29, it was 56%. Look at where that number has absolutely tumbled to. It has dropped, what is that? That's 35 points to just 21%. We've seen some drop with senior citizens, those 65 or older, but that's just been a drop of 53 to 41%. What is essentially going on here is the American youth have lost faith pretty much completely in the idea of an American dream, and that of course goes back to the idea of why there's poll after poll after poll that shows that younger people, more so than any other part of our nation at this point, have seen deepening pessimism in their personal lives as well.
Is it just economics or is there something more?
Okay, so this, look, if you work hard, you'll get ahead. That's the American dream, the idea of it being tied to the economy.
Yeah.
But I think it goes deeper than that. As I was mentioning, I think it goes into their personal lives. And this to me is it's just scary. It's just scary. Okay, what are we talking about? Have 5 or more close friends. Back in 1990, look at the 63%, the clear majority of Americans said they had at least 5 or more close friends. Look at where that number has tumbled to now. It's just 40%. So basically, we're just seeing a complete collapse of sort of the American structure, right? It's economic, yes, but it's also people in their personal lives, whether or not they have close friends. And then all of a sudden, if you feel like you work hard, you can't get ahead, you go home, you try and have friends, and you don't really have that many close friends. And get this, the percentage of Americans who have no close friends has jumped up from 3% to now 17%. 17% of Americans say they have no close friends. No wonder pessimism is really taking a hold in the American public. As I said at the beginning of this, America, we have a real problem.
Yeah, impacting like your entire outlook on life, not just, right?
It's
not just
exactly right. It's economic, but it's social as well.
So interesting. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
Through the honors program at SLS Academy, I was able to graduate early and get accepted into one of the best undergraduate attempts.
Right, so there you have it on that video. The American dream is dying, right? People are waking up and seeing things for what it is. They said the American dream is to believe that if you work hard, you'll get ahead. People are no longer believing that. People are working hard, and people are losing hope in the thought of working hard and being able to get ahead of the struggle, to be able to keep from drowning, keep your head above water, all right? Because they're seeing people struggle, they're seeing their parents struggle, all right? And we're in the age of information, and this devil is ultimately being exposed of its lies, that have deceived many throughout these generations, all right? And also, they see what Trump is doing. He's he's making America, which is prophecy. He's causing America to be the enemy to all nations of the planet. With his trade wars, right? America is at it with Venezuela. There's tensions with Canada, Mexico, all right? America's allies, Europe, the European countries. You know, tensions growing. You know, because Trump can't put an end to the wars going on over there with Russia and Ukraine, Israel, and Gaza, the Palestinians. And so, what?
Turn your phone into a money-making machine, get
People
paid
are
in seconds,
seeing,
and watch your business grow with Jim.
the
One
result
tap
of
is all
what
it
the decisions that Trump has been making. All right, they see America inevitably, if I'm saying it right, they see the chances of America being led into World War III increasing. All right, the prophets are on the highways and byways flooding the internet with this gospel, with this ministry, all right, prophesying and letting you know exactly what's about to happen in the near future, matching it up with the current events. All right, so here's the next video. I'm gonna play the whole thing, but I got it on fast forward. So again, Lord willing, this is edifying. Russia, China, India unite in Beijing against Trump with Kim on the way, which this was put up yesterday. All right, and the meeting against the heads of these countries was held today. All right, we're gonna get to that too.
To take on the White House, and the images are striking. Russia's Vladimir Putin shaking hands and laughing with Chinese President Xi Jinping and India's Prime Minister Modi. At one point, even holding hands with Modi. The show of unity in China clearly designed to send a message to Trump and what Xi calls his, quote, bullying practices. The trio is notably about to be joined by another U.S. adversary, North Korea's Kim Jong-un. This is a picture of him in his bulletproof train, reportedly just now crossing into China. Kim steps onto the world stage fresh off a tour of his country's newest missile factory, one that North Korea claims is a cornerstone of its military expansion. A military that, according to Ukraine, is on the verge of sending up to 30,000 troops to Eastern Europe to provide Russia with more manpower. And as Trump watches these world leaders gather without him, he is lashing out at one. India's Narendra Modi, writing online that America's relationship with India has been a, quote, totally one-sided disaster. And yet, the one leader who is evading Trump's ire is Vladimir Putin, the man whose military launched a round of overnight attacks on Ukraine yet again. Also, the man who went before cameras today attempting to rewrite history, insisting that his invasion is all Ukraine's fault.
I will remind you that this crisis was created not as a result of Russia attacking Ukraine. It emerged as a result of a coup d'etat in Ukraine that was provoked and supported by the West.
Trump's prolonged silence on Putin's actions may also be emboldening the Russian leader. We're now learning a plane carrying the European Union's top official was targeted by the Kremlin. Shortly before landing, we're told the jet's GPS system was jammed by Russian technology. Ursula von der Leyen's plane was able to land safely using paper maps. The EU's top leader, we should point out, is a staunch defender of Ukraine. We have Ivan Watson tonight out front live in Beijing, as well as Kristen Holmes at the White House. Let's start with Ivan. Clearly a busy and symbolically important day for Xi, who is ready to hold this one-on-one with Putin.
That's right, that one-on-one, which is expected to take place here in the Chinese capital later today. You know, while the U.S. and the Trump administration have been disrupting America's traditional foreign policy position by with its global trade war, with the cutting back on international aid, with sharp criticism of traditional allies, China has been using this opportunity to present itself to its friends and partners and the world as a reliable, stable, and predictable global power.
Of international solidarity. At a time of global uncertainty, leaders of three of the world's largest countries happily rubbing shoulders at a summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Tianjin, China. The leaders of China and Russia have long complained that the U.S. and its Western allies have dominated international relations. So now they've gathered heads of state from across Asia and the Middle East into this vast building to call for the creation of a new world order. The host. So now they've gathered heads of state from across Asia and the Middle East into this vast building to call for the creation of a new world order. So now they've gathered heads of state from across Asia and the Middle East into this vast building to call for the creation of a new world order. The host, Chinese President Xi Jinping, denouncing bullying and double standards and promoting China as a champion for developing countries.
The house rules of a few countries should not be imposed upon others.
Those points echoed by his close partner Vladimir Putin. even as his military continues its nightly bombardment of Ukrainian cities, defying U.S. President Donald Trump's demands for peace. But the Russian president accuses the West of starting Russia's war with Ukraine and makes his own appeal for a new global system of governance.
A system that would replace the outdated Eurocentric and Euro-Atlantic models, taking into account the interest of the broadest possible range of countries, truly balanced.
Make the bunny circle over and under. Get one bunny.
But it is the presence of India's prime minister that has been most notable at this gathering. Narendra Modi came to China, still stinging from 50% tariffs imposed by the Trump administration on Indian goods. Snubbed by Washington, Modi is now mending fences with China, despite an ongoing Chinese-Indian border dispute that 5 years ago turned very deadly. Modi also spent an hour talking to Putin in the Russian president's limousine, demonstrating India has other powerful friends if it can no longer count on U.S. support.
So the Chinese leader, Xi Jinping, has been flexing his diplomatic muscles at that riverport city of Tianjin at this regional security summit. Now expect him to flex his military muscles, quite literally, because on Wednesday, he's going to be putting on a massive military parade here in the capital, Beijing, to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the surrender of Japan in World War II. Dozens of world leaders are expected to attend. The Russian President Vladimir Putin is here in Beijing. The Iranian president is expected to attend. And the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is expected to attend as well. And according to Korean Central Broadcasting, his train has crossed the border from North Korea into China and is likely on its way here to Beijing right now.
That'll be quite a set of images. Ivan Watson, live for us in Beijing. Thank you so much. Let's go to Kristen Holmes out front at the White House. Kristen, a major show of force by America's adversaries, all organized by Xi. Trump largely silent about the Chinese leader, though. What is the White House thinking on all of this?
Well, Boris, as you noted, the Prime Minister of India, Modi, is sending a clear message to Washington amid these 50% tariffs, which we know from hearing from economists in India have really been detrimental to the country and long term will really hurt the country's economy. So President Trump has been taking out most of his frustration on Modi. It's a signal that Modi sent that was picked up by the White House. You noted that through social post, talking about its relationship, saying it's one-sided, blaming the Prime Minister. We also heard from one of Donald Trump's top trade advisors who called the show of unity troublesome.
It's time for Modi to step up. I have great respect for Modi. I love the Indian people. It was a shame to see Modi getting in bed as a leader of the biggest democracy in the world with the two biggest authoritarian dictators in the world, in Putin and Xi Jinping. That doesn't make any sense.
So clearly here you have the White House blaming Modi, blaming India for this, but we should make one thing clear, and I know Ivan laid this out. There was a strained relationship for years between China and India. This is the first time Modi's been back in China for 7 years, and partially it was about the economy as well. And now you see India looking for other options. Essentially, if the United States is going to stand in the way of India growing its economy, which is something they've been trying to do, is become one of the largest economies in the world, bigger than they already are, then they are going to look for alternatives. And you're going to start to hear from a lot of people who oppose these tariffs saying that this was bound to happen, that of course these large global economies are going to find economies that want to work with them. The big question is how this impacts the United States, how this impacts the U.S. And I do want to know one thing, Boris. We talk a lot about how President Trump hasn't called out Vladimir Putin, but we did hear something interesting from his Secretary of Treasury today, saying that sanctions were on the table and that Putin has done basically the opposite of what he said he intended to do, so they were still keeping their options open.
Kristen Holmes, the White House Force, thank you so much. Out front right now, Democratic Congressman Adam Smith, the top-ranking Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, thank you so much for sharing part of your Labor Day with us. So you have Xi, Putin, and Modi in the same room, smiling, holding hands. Kim Jong-un on the way to join them. As Xi talks about a multipolar world, is it your assessment that U.S. global dominance is fading right now? Well, look, Xi talks about a multipolar world. Is it your assessment that U.S. global dominance is fading right now?
Well, look, U.S. global dominance has been fading for quite some time. I mean, that's not really the issue. We were never going to continue to be where we were at in 1991 when the Soviet Union collapsed. I mean, the rest of the world was going to catch up, build economies, and get stronger. And there's nothing really wrong with that. We have to figure out how to build partnerships and adapt to that world. But what Trump is doing is he is alienating the entire rest of the world precisely at the point when that rest of the world is getting stronger and is in a position to have other options. You know, a lot of Republicans like to say that America first doesn't mean America alone. Well, under Trump, it absolutely means America alone. We have alienated India, a crucial economic partner, also a crucial partner in battling against Russia and China, and we have taken them and shoved them into Russia and China's arms. And why exactly? Why did Trump put this 50% tariff on India? As near as we can tell, it's because Modi refused to give Trump credit for ending the India-Pakistan conflict from a few months ago. And while Pakistan wanted to nominate Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize, Modi didn't play ball on that. So because Trump is personally affronted, we're alienating a crucial partner and a crucial ally? That's just idiot foreign policy. It's a huge problem for our country.
Ever struggled to get a credit card when you have poor or no credit? Then you need Self.
So
Simply download the app and apply.
It. Right. Yeah, that was it on that. Right. So I'm gonna go ahead. Right. Play this. Because what they had a military parade. China threw a military parade. All right, today. With India, Russia, what they said, North Korea, South Korea, I forget, Kim Jong-un, right? All these countries, all these adversaries, enemies of America gathering, all right? And these are war drums, you know, all roads lead into World War III, and of course we gotta wait for the MOTB to be implemented, but everything is perfectly lined up so that when that microchip is implemented, you know, war is right behind it. All right, we're at the bitter end, man. We're at the beginning of the time of Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation. We're at the beginning. We're seeing the beginning signs of World War III being started. You know, shots have already been fired. You know, it just hasn't actually been declared as World War III, but it will pretty soon. It says, what do weapons on show at parade say about China's military strength? China has a lot of weapons. The parade reveals China has been able to quickly produce a diverse range of weapons, particularly drones and missiles. And these countries, they're not just showing these weapons off. All right, it's not, they plan on using them. You know, it's a that video that I played, I think it was from CNN. Said that, you know, the leader of China, he was showing his political muscles, all right, and now he's showing his military muscles. It's a show of force, you know, to intimidate America, all right, and let it be known that they're not being fazed by the decisions that America or Trump is making. They're not threatened, all right, and they're willing to already to go to war if need be, and that's what things is going to definitely lead to. And they also mentioned, you know, a new world order, all right, where America is no longer the bully or the dominant country against all these other countries, or leading the world in foreign affairs, all right. You know, there's a new sheriff in town, so to speak, all right. But and so one way or another, the MOTB has to be implemented. You know, that being the way that they're going to push that one world money system, all right, a part of their one world government, okay. And there's going to be some type of disagreements. There's going to be something that's going to happen that's going to cause America to be America's allies, the EU and NATO, to turn on America. All right, the scripture speaks about the beast shall hate the whore. All right, the beast being America's allies, the NATO and the EU, and the whore being America, which is known as Babylon the Great. Right, it says, she shall burn her with fire. So, things are looking up, you know, for the prophets, for the men of the Lord, the hopeful elect. All right, and it's looking real bad for 2/3 of our people in these heathen nations. China is focusing on missiles to counter the U.S. with new variants, including the Dongfeng 61, which are capable of carrying nuclear weapons. Right? Hold up. China's new intercontinental ballistic capable of carrying nuclear warheads, right? China showed off a wide range of drones, some of them AI powered, but the AJX-002 giant submarine drone has grabbed attention. A giant 60 feet underwater nuclear capable unmanned vehicle. Different ways to shoot nuclear bombs. All right. It says robot wars. There were also robot wars. Experts say these could be used for a variety of tasks. Can be equipped to perform different roles alongside soldiers, such as reconnaissance and transporting ammunition. This is going to be one hell of a war, man. A lot of technology, a lot of technology is going to be used. A lot of bodies is going to be dropped. China may have the tech, but U.S. still has the edge. The U.S. military's bottom-up culture, where units on the ground can make decisions, makes them more agile in a battle, experts say. Part of China's fleet of unmanned combat aerial vehicles, the GJ-11 stealth drone. The parade was a weapons sales pitch among the key clients were Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, who, along with Xi, presented a united front. All right, so these nations are coming together in support of Russia's threat of dominance against the U.S. And he went as far as saying that, the war with Ukraine is basically over America instigating Ukraine to come against Russia. All right, so this is all prophetic. All right, this is Joel chapter 2:1. It says, "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm." First of all, Salakia, matter of fact, pessimism again is growing, right? And pessimism it says, our overview is a mental outlook where undesirable outcomes are anticipated from a situation, leading individuals to focus on the negative aspects of life and expect the worst. All right, and so people are waking up. They're seeing what's going on in the world. That whether they like it or not, they're forced to hear what the prophets are saying because it's lining up perfectly with what is happening in the world. All right, and people are waking up to the reality, which is that America is on its way out. All right, the American dream is fading. All right, and there's no use in working hard because the future of America is not looking promising. Ultimately, all right, the economy is collapsing. Prices are going up. The struggle is people are struggling more. All right, and you have this cruel Lord who is making decisions that is not making anything better. America is being led into war. All right, and again, it's just not looking promising. All right, so again, blow ye the trumpet in Zion. Zion is another name for Israel. all right, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Blow ye the trumpet. The trumpet is what? The warnings of these prophecies that are unfolding before our eyes, all right? The warning, the ushering in of the kingdom of heaven, all right, on earth, with the second coming of Yahweh Shai, who the world enemy calls Jesus Christ, and the deliverance and salvation being brought to the elect of the nation of Israel, the 1/3 beginning with the 144,000 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and the announcing of the destruction of Babylon the Great, all right, and these heathen nations that are in rulership with these Edomites, the nation of so-called white men, the devil in the flesh, all right. A trumpet being a warning of all the things that are to come, all right, which is going to happen through violence and war. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Which is the holy mountain is the holy government or nation of Israel. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, be afraid, right? Because again, World War III is imminent, and East America is going to lose. There isn't going to be of all these nations that are going to be gathered for this war. There's only going to be one victor, and it's not going to be any of them. It's going to be the nation of Israel, all right? Once Yahweh Shah makes his second return. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh. That's what it's all about. It's the day of the Lord. The Lord is mustering the host of the battle. The Lord is gathering these nations to bring about the end of this age of rulership of wickedness, all right, and the bringing in of the eternal age of righteousness. For the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness. And so our people are supposed to be getting prepared, supposed to be taking heed to the warnings, all right, to the sounding of the trumpet, all right, to the war drums beating and getting louder. We're supposed to be preparing ourselves to get the fuck out of here, you know, to be saved, to be protected when all this chaos takes place, when all this violence takes place. It says a day of darkness and of gloominess, bombs going off all over everywhere, people screaming, chariots, the so-called UFOs, UAPs, the chariots of God, the vehicles of the transportation of salvation, flood in the skies, all right, tornadoes, tsunamis, earthquakes, hurricanes, hailstorms, thunderstorms, all right. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong, there have not been ever the like. All right, because there's more people on the earth than there ever was. And you talking about a war where these billions of people are going to be affected. All right, the number of soldiers and all of the technology that they have, you know, it's just going to be a all-out Royal Rumble like never seen before in history. Already they saying there's more bombs being used over there in the Middle East than World War II. So that goes to tell you that we are living in times worse than the last World War, all right, which is signs of a third World War. It says, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations, right? Because there isn't going to be any more wars after this last World War. There isn't going to be any use for This is Amos chapter 3 and 6. It says, shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? So this isn't any trumpet being sound, because in the ancient kingdom of Israel and many ancient kingdoms, there are different, even today, right? A police car, right, or ambulance has alarms or sirens, all right, and they have different sirens for that's meant to give different messages, and they're all emergencies or important sounds, but different sounds different sounds have different purposes, all right, and they know the difference between the sounds, and that's why they play between the different sounds. Matter of fact, like, you got an ambulance got a different siren than a federal police car, all right, and a regular police car has a different sirens than the ambulance. So a war trumpet or war sound has a different sound than the trumpet that would be blown for a holy day, all right, a gathering of a solemn assembly, all right. There would be a siren or a sound made for intruders. There would be a certain sound or trumpet blown for a welcoming visitor, all right. So it says, shall a trumpet, this trumpet that's being blown is the trumpet of war. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord have not done it? There's about to be a great amount of evil taking place in the Lord, as judgment from the Lord for the wickedness that has been being done in the earth, all right. And this show of force of these nations that have strong military might, all right, is part of the trumpets being blown. 1 Corinthians 14:8, for if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to the battle? All right, so again, the prophets, the men of the Lord, are instructed, are commanded to go out on the highways and byways to flood the internet with these warnings, all right, that being symbolic for the trumpets being blown of the Lord, which is to prepare for the war that's about to take place, which is spiritual first, all right, and how do you prepare for the war that's about to take place? By returning to the Lord, repenting, all right, praying, fasting, all right, and preparing yourself to endure the hour of temptation, the time of Jacob's trouble, where the whole earth will be tempted to give themselves over to the image of the beast, which is the New World Order, by receiving that micro C-hip, that marketers beast-like system, all right, that RFID micro C-hip technology, all right, in which everyone will be offered, where it will have to be implanted into your hand or your forehead, your right hand or your forehead. And without that, you won't be able to buy or sell. The fulfillment of the prophecy of Revelation 13 and 16. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 1. It says, for behold, in those days, and in that time, which we're living in a time where this prophecy that was written by Joel will be fulfilled, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, All right, all the 12 tribes of Israel, it's time to be brought, delivered, saved out of captivity, out of slavery. All right, which is the consequences for breaking the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, the curses that came upon us for sinning against the Lord. Verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of the Lord's decision, over there in the Levant, all right, over there in the so-called Middle East, okay, over there with Israel and Palestine is, all right, and that's where all the military tensions are being gathered to. That's exactly what's happening in the news. It says, and will plead with them there for my people. The Lord's people is the nation of Israel, and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Because of the falling away of the nation of Israel, all right, that's how the land of Israel wound up being split. All right, first it was split between us. All right, you had the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom of the nation of Israel. All right, you had the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel, and because we were fighting amongst ourselves, that left room for us to be conquered by our enemies, and the result of that is now you got these heathen nations fighting over the land. All right, you have imposters portraying themselves as being the chosen people, but ever since they've been in that land, they've been having to fight to keep it, to stay in the land. They haven't been blessed the whole time that they've been in the land. But anyways, so World War III, all right, these nations being gathered in the valley of Jehoshaphat is all for the return of rulership to the nation of Israel. Jumping down, verse 9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither. Cause the mighty ones to come down. O Lord, who's the mighty ones? The angels of the Lord. All right, and so you have all of these things happening. So-called UFO sightings increasing. All right, all eyes is on that 7,000 feet spacecraft or whatever it is, right? Possible spacecraft, all right, which they say it will be close to the sun, or as close as close to the Earth. What, in November, December, something like that. All right, you got all these heathen nations: India, China, North Korea, South Korea, whatever. Russia, all right, Iran. You got all these nations coming together for war. Israel, okay. So it says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. All right, and so that's what it's about. The Lord is, again, judging these heathen nations, bringing them out of power, and delivering and bringing salvation to the nation of Israel. This is Sirach chapter 34 and 1. It says, the hope of a man void of understanding are vain and false, and dreams lift up fools. Right? You got to be a fool to believe that America, like in that one video that I showed, the guy said, well, America has been the American dream has been failing, or has been declining for years. All right, and it's only been we all knew it was a matter of time before these other nations would rise up into power. All right, and all we got to do basically is what you're saying is figure out a way for us to all get along. All right, but that dream of the American dream and having peace on earth, all right, with these other nations, is dead. All right, the hopes of having global peace with these world powers that are ruling right now is going to come to nothing. All right. It says, "In dreams lift up fools. Whoso regardeth dreams is like him that catcheth at a shadow and followeth after the wind." All right, so you're delusional. You can never catch a shadow. All right, you can never really follow the wind because it's unpredictable. All right. Jumping down, it says verse 6, "If they be not sent from the Most High in thy visitation, set not thy heart upon them." So we know better than to believe in the American dream. All right, we know the hopeful elect know where America is headed. All right, which is out of power. America is going to be totally destroyed by thermonuclear missiles. All right, as an introduction to the second coming of our Lord, who were in across Jesus Christ, who is not a so-called white man, whose real name is Yahweh Shai, who will return, like they said, the beings on those spaceships. They said they 7 to 8 feet, men that look like Negroes, so-called African Americans, and that's how Yahweh Shah is going to return. He's going to be taller than the rest of the elect. All right, and he's going to appear to be a so-called Negro because he is the king of Jews. All right, and the tribe of Judah, all right, are the original Jews, all right, which is the so-called African Americans. So, if they be not sent from the Most High in thy visitation, set not thy heart upon them, right? Because the Lord do give visions, all right, and prophetic dreams, all right. The Lord will have you have a dream, and it, as a warning of what is about to happen an hour later, all right, or the Lord will come in your dream and give you instructions on what He wants you to do when you wake up. Verse 7, it says, "For dreams have deceived many, and they have failed that put their trust in them." All right, and so again, pessimism, which is basically a sense of hopelessness, is increasing in America as the drums of war increase. Lord willing, I was edifying. I like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.